words of Robert Parker, who is the most influential wine critic in the world, where I sat with the bottle and the wine. I said, "What is this? It costs $2,000 and it's 100 points, but it's just not my taste."
Mads Deuce Peterson is a wine fraud consultant. He joined us from Aalborg in Denmark.
KJZZ is supported by Beatitudes Campus, located in North Central Phoenix, offering a variety of living options for seniors. Hear what residents have to say about Beatitudes Campus at residentsamplified.com.
Hi, I'm Wayne Shutsky. You want Bulldog security screens? They're tough.
Bulldog. We need a tough-as-nails prosecutor who stands with law enforcement and puts dangerous criminals behind bars. But Tamika Wooten is a soft-on-crime woke liberal. Wooten said she would, quote, seek justice rather than simply seeking convictions, and that the role of a prosecutor is, quote, not just to put people in prison. Wooten has called mandatory minimum sentences senseless and fought against legislation that would crack down on illegal immigration and toughen penalties for the smuggling and sale of fentanyl. Wooten won't keep us safe. Rachel Mitchell is the one we trust to hold hardened criminals accountable and deliver justice for victims. A prosecutor who actually prosecutes. Mitchell will continue to fight the scourge of illegal immigration and cartels who bring fentanyl into our community. Endorsed by law enforcement, Rachel Mitchell for Maricopa County Attorney. Paid for by Protecting Americans Project Action Fund with 83% from out-of-state contributors. Top donors for campaign media spending. POM SGA Group NVP LLC. Not authorized by any candidate. Protecting Americans Project Action Fund is responsible for the content of the set.
KTAR-FM, Glendale, Phoenix.
Hi, this is Amy Batten with Weatherstone Mortgage and host of Keeping It Real Estate with Amy B, as heard every Saturday at 5 p.m. on KTAR News 92.3 FM. Interest rates are finally starting to come down, and the new buzzword, refinance. With the right guidance, refinancing is an important money-saving tool, and I would love to help you. Find me online anytime at keepingitrealestateWithAmyB.com. Please reach out today for my free and painless consultation, and let's see if our refinance is right for you.
It's 3 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Becky Lynn.
Arizona Votes 2024.
The redacted divorce file between U.S. Senate candidate Ruben Gallego and Phoenix Mayor Kate Gallego has now been unsealed.
Republican U.S. Senate candidate Carrie Lake told the Mike Broomhead Show yesterday she was convinced there would be damaging information in it.
There's got to be something horrible in there. We don't know if it was spousal abuse, drug use.
The documents show no allegations of abuse or drug use. The Democratic nominee, Ruben Gallego, told Outspoken with Bruce and Gatos they wanted to protect their son.
The reason Kate and I have tried to keep our as much confidential is not for us, it's for our son, Michael.
Heidi Hommel, KTAR News.
And in dual statements, the Gallegos are demanding an apology from Carrie Lake. Lake says she had nothing to do with the lawsuit from the Washington Free Beacon to get those records unsealed. For more election news, go to KTAR.com/Arizona Votes. The Arizona Department of Public Safety is partnering with ASU to conduct a field study on the effectiveness of using AI to review body cam footage. They'll use technology from Trulio, an artificial intelligence system that can analyze any law enforcement interaction and provide instant feedback on what a trooper did well and what they could have done better.
Eyes on Education.
The conversation around school threats has drawn lots of attention in recent weeks, and we're hearing from one teacher who talks about the impact on students.
The number of threats made to Arizona schools has significantly risen in recent weeks, according to law enforcement. Speaking at a community forum last night, Valley teacher Melissa Germscheid says these threats have a lasting effect, citing a previous incident.
And students were showing pictures of parents lined up down the block. It was over 400 students checked out within a 90-minute time period. So you can imagine what the front office was doing, just constantly calling and calling.
And one solution she sees is finding a way to get more adults on campus.
It is a funding issue, so hopefully that's something that in the future we can fix within our state.
Ballin Overstoles, KTAR News.
The National Weather Service says cold front will be arriving tomorrow morning, and the best window for rain in the valley is from 6 to 9 a.m. Very light and widely scattered rainfall expected, maybe a tenth of an inch. And in the high country, the first snowfall of the season is expected tonight through Sunday morning. Not much accumulation, though. This season's first round of dangerous Santa Ana winds is moving into Southern California, and fire danger warnings are up in areas of Northern California as well. ABC's Alex Stone is in Los Angeles.
Fire weather warnings are going up around California, with Santa Ana wind expected to arrive here in Southern California into the weekend. And in Northern California, it's not called Santa Ana wind, but strong wind is expected through at least Saturday, where a firestorm burned in 2017. In some areas, Pacific Gas and Electric is preventatively turning off the electricity in case power lines come down in the wind.
And it's time now for KTAR Timeline with Patricia Valencia, brought to you by the Attitudes Campus.
It's October 17th, and back on this day in 1983, the Sally Jesse Raphael Show debuted. On Channel 5, specifically in St. Louis, the show was originally a half-hour-long program hosted by radio talk show host Sally Jesse Raphael. Sally's TV show was different from her radio gig in that it was more of a traditional talk show. It focused on 2 topics each episode. When the show started, it covered topics like people with extreme religious beliefs, but later it moved on to more personal family matters, such as pregnant or out-of-control teens. In 2002, the show was canceled due to low ratings, as well as the fading popularity of the genre. Sesame Street parodied the show with their bit Sally Messy Yucky L, a Grouch-type character, and Sally made a cameo in the Addams Family movie in 1991. Sally Jesse Raphael has never been rerun on traditional television, but episodes are available in video archives. And it all started when the show debuted back on this day in 1983.
And of course, who can forget her trademark red eyeglasses? Here's Chaparro now with a look at the roads in the Valley Chevy Dealers Traffic Center.
Thank you, Becky Lynn. Seeing a lot of red on the map right now. There's a crash on the I-17 northbound just after Indian School Road. HOV lane is blocked there, and that slowdown will start right at the I-10 stack interchange. 202 Red Mountain Freeway eastbound at Scottsdale Road. A crash in the clearing stage is off right. 202 South Mountain Freeway northbound after Buckeye Road. A crash off to the right as well. Just a little slowing at the scene there. Indian School Road at 111th Avenue. A crash also wrecks at Jefferson just east of I-10. 35th Avenue at Thomas Road. 51st south of Cactus. That's 51st Avenue south of Cactus and McDowell Road at 99th Avenue. This traffic report brought to you by Day and Night Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing, offering a free furnace with the purchase of a new AC unit. Replace your AC after the brutal summer and get ready for winter. Visit...
See if we can catch this road rage person. See who it is. That is, let's see, there's a truck number. Elite road rage personnel. I'm guessing. Road rage personnel employee. I'm trying to see where the other vehicle is. It was a Chevy something. A Chevy Malibu or Impala.
So we broke this year, and I was thinking about, will we have more than 60 days over 110 degrees, which until this year had never happened before. Last year we set the over-under at 50, and I took the under because it only happened twice in history. Yeah. We did the bet in, I don't know, April or May or something like that. And I said, well, it's only happened twice in history. I mean, odds are in my favor. I took the under. And obviously, way wrong.
Yeah, try for 120 next year. It'd be great.
Oh, my goodness. That's not a bad idea. We might have to write that down. Will the high temperature hit 120? That's a good one. Will we have more than 60 days over 110? In fact, we were just talking, Pablo is of the belief that we may have a 100-degree day in November.
I know, I don't want to believe it, but maybe.
I want to say you're crazy, but we've never had a 110 day in October until this year either.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We'll hit something. I don't know about 100, but it's going to get
toasty.
A little bit toasty.
I thought you were going to say a low of 100.
So that was a bet. That was a bet that we did this year.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah. Well, no, we did, and it's never happened that we had a low that was over 100. And I set the over under at 2, and I said I'll take the over, which was dumb because I took the under on the other stuff, and it never happened. It didn't happen this year. But I think at some point, I'm going to say in the next 5 years, it's happening. that we're going to have a low that doesn't get below 100.
I don't think we should live here then.
Go on.
Yes.
How so?
We're going to live. Pablo's going to get us a place. Diego near Baja.
I'm a more Sonora guy.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll go down to.
Is that hot? That's hot though, isn't it?
Hot, yeah.
Still hot.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's say Gatos, doesn't he have a beach house or something? Doesn't he own half of Baja, California? Where is it?
Peñasco?
Yeah. He owns half that place. We'll go get a place from him. Steve Goldstein from all of the debates that you watched this year. If you watched any of the political debates, Steve, how many did you host this year?
It was upwards of 20.
That's a lot.
Wasn't
that is a lot of reading and a lot of prep. And good for you, though.
A lot of makeup.
Do you get a lot of complaints after those things? Do people hound you for those, or do you get a lot of accolades? Because I always think you do a great job.
Somewhere in the middle. Yeah,
okay.
some of both. Yeah.
Do you take those to heart? Because I do.
Of course. What kind of business are you in? Of course, we have you want to act like critics don't matter, but they do, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You've been in the business combined 50 years probably.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
it hurts.
It does.
And I think with social media it becomes even more difficult because you'll have some nutters that will say some really, and as soon as you click on the profile and you realize what a kind of a nutcase they are, then you sort of discount their.
When they have 17 followers, you mean?
17 followers, and their posts are all about how close can I get a firework to my dog kind of thing. That's weird. And then you go, okay, this person's a little unhinged. I'm not going to worry about that. But I think initially, especially if it comes in like on a text line or something, you always use a mirror of yourself and you say, the person who's sending this to me is a rational human being who has a deep-seated hate for what I just did because what I just did must have been so terrible, right? It's really tough. And I had this conversation with John McCain one time, and I said, does that ever get to you? And I said, but really? I mean, because it really starts to bother me when just random people tell me how they wish my mother had aborted me and then outlawed abortion, right? And he says, yeah, I mean, it does. It starts to after a little while. So I was curious about that with you. We have maybe the most divisive times in American history since the Civil War. I'm not going to say the most divisive of all time. The 1960s were pretty bad. 1860s, not great.
Yeah.
Fair to say. I am curious about the demographics when it comes to the Trump-Harris supporters, because in the past, you would say Republicans are fiscal conservatives, evangelical conservatives. You may have retirees who are concerned about protecting their wealth, that kind of thing. And you could kind of break it down. In fact, at one point I did. I sort of broke down the Republican Party could be broken into sort of the fiscal Republicans, the business side Republicans, the retiree Republicans, that you could have the evangelical Republicans, that sort of thing. And everyone sort of fit. It was a big tent that included people from all those different demographics.
Our poli-sci class used to call it Main Street and Wall Street.
Okay, fair. Yeah, love that. Okay. And then Democrats was always like everybody else. Now, it doesn't fit neatly into any of those boxes anymore like it did in the past. Your Main Street and Wall Street completely divided in the same house.
How many things? This is another way in which Trump is going to be so historical. For good or bad.
That's an understatement, yeah.
Because, yes, of course, he's this charismatic figure that alienates people, but other people who never voted before, oh my gosh, he's my savior, he's amazing. But this is another way, because he has been responsible for dramatically changing both major political parties, I think, based on just his presence and people's reaction to it.
A great point. I'm curious about the migration of certain demographics. It used to be Republicans could count on suburban moms, right? That was always suburban moms were concerned about the safety, security, and about their kids' futures and making sure that they're it's such a stereotype to think that suburban moms are sitting at home while husbands go to work and this sort of thing. I mean, it's almost a nuclear family image that we draw. And of course, it's not accurate, but that's what we draw. But now suburban moms seem to be going, Trump, I'm going to say Trump turns them off. And so they find themselves going, well, there's a female candidate on the ballot who's not bombastic and scary with sort of, whether you want to believe the courts or not, a history of some not great behavior with women. So that's a turnoff to a lot of the suburban women. Meanwhile, young men, and I find this really interesting, young men's economic prospects are shifting, this is from NBC News, along with their politics. While the economy has been a top issue for many voters, it's particularly salient for the young men and those tied into their wider cultural ideals about their place in society and wanting to be a provider for their families. Young men seem to be having a bit of an identity crisis, and they say, that is a strong leader, and I'm drawn to the strong leader who's promising economic prosperity.
Is there merit to what they're saying right now? I mean, that seems like a lot of emotions driving these votes, which, let's be honest, it always does.
So the numbers you're looking at, is that people of color, not people of color? How does it break down? And does it affect everybody equally? Because I could see young white men saying, oh, wait a second, buying into, here come the immigrants who are going to take my job because that's insecure, or because of COVID, I didn't get a chance to finish my degree or whatever it is, so I'm not as attractive to employers and that kind of thing. So in that sense, I could see being drawn to this outspokenness.
Alpha?
Yeah, I mean, that's what he shows, and yet, if we think about what the results have been, I'm not sure the evidence is there. So when you're talking about the young people, it must just be, wow, this guy's not stuck in his basement like I am. This guy's not scared of what the future is. He's just out there. And a lot of people lack that boldness, and to see someone else do it, it's inspiring. If you don't get down to the actual details of it, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not going to be able to achieve my goals if this other person who doesn't look like me. It's almost like a reverse of what a lot of society's been through. It's like, now you've got, if this woman of color becomes president, is that going to hurt me as someone who's a 22-year-old white guy? Yeah.
Fascinating. Here, let's call it. I'm going to put you on the spot. I was not planning on this. Let's really mess with him, Pablo. Are you good with that? I'm going to mess with
Pablo's such a nice person. He would not do that to me.
Nope. Producer Pablo is all in it. He loves to just see people squirm.
Okay.
I can't wait to do this to you. Hey, remember back in 2020 when Fox called Arizona for Biden and Trump supporters got very upset and nobody else was calling it? And then the network that has a clear editorial bend toward Donald J. Trump was calling for his opponent, right? And people were all upset. So get ready for more mixed messaging this time around. And we're going to put Steve Goldstein on the spot. This time, you're going to know why there's a difference in the way that people are calling it. That's next on the Chris and Joe Show with Steve Goldstein, KTAR News. But first, here's Becky Lynn with the top story right now.
KTAR News Flash.
It is 3:14. I'm Becky Lynn, and this is what you need to know right now.
There's nothing in there at all that's frankly surprising or interesting or damaging in any way.
The unsealed divorce records between U.S. Senate candidate Ruben Gallego and Phoenix Mayor Kate Gallego show nothing out of the ordinary. KTAR legal analyst Barry Markson says both were ordered to take parenting classes as part of their joint custody agreement, and that is standard in Arizona. In dual statements, the Gallegos are demanding an apology from Republican U.S. Senate candidate Carrie Lake, who says she had nothing to do with the lawsuit from the Washington Free Beacon to get those records unsealed. All of our top stories are just 15 minutes away. For more news, go to KTAR.com or the KTAR News app. Let's check on traffic with Chuck.